things that we talk about, as Mr. Colton spoke before, we measured decibel readings of 80 to 85 at times. Normal conversation, 60 to 70 decibels. A dial tone on the phone is 80 decibels. Traffic is 85 decibels. A railroad whistle, we have one a block away, is 90 decibels at 500 feet away. The level at which sustained exposure may result in hearing loss is 90 to 95 decibels. Okay? According to OSHA, the daily permissible noise level exposure for 8 hours is 90 decibels. So that's 8 hours and 90 decibels. 6 hours, 92 decibels. And as you go lower in hours, the decibel level goes higher. We're talking about hearing loss. Should we disband all our music programs in our schools? A flute plays at 92 to 103.
That's right!
A violin, 82 to 92, and a cello, 85 to 111. I chose Freeport to live here. I did not grow up here, but I chose to live here because I love the water and I love the Nautical Mile. I enjoy it. When my wife and I got married, we stayed in Freeport and moved to another house so we could stay here in the village that we love. We talk a lot about the noise, and a lot of the, just so everyone knows, I do not own a restaurant, but I do help manage and work at one, okay? Out of all the restaurants on the mile, there are 12 that play music. 6 of them have owners that live in the village. So, you know, we talked at previous meetings, Mayor, and we had a disagreement, respectfully, that, you know, the residents, and we are the residents.
That's right.
As you know, if you look on Facebook, we have about 1,000 people that are in support of, against this proposal, saying no to it. The village attorney and I have a disagreement on the number of people that are from Freeport. He says 30%, I say 50%. At 1,000, it's 300 or 500 people. That's a lot of residents.
PTA is 100%.
Okay. It's a great night, isn't it? A couple of the challenges that the restaurants face, and we discussed this before in previous meetings. Unfortunately, and no fault of theirs, there is no direction on a standard operating procedure on how to test. We've discussed this over and over again. The police do not have a standard operating procedure to test it. That's not their fault. They do the best that they can with what they can. I'm a proud supporter of the PBA. Some of the suggestions that we have offered, that I have offered, register the bands and DJs with the village so that there's accountability for those playing the music. Unfortunately, we don't always have accountability, and you know, the only accountability we have is not to have them play again, but we've already got the ticket. So if they share in that accountability and expense, it's also a revenue stream to the village of $50 a permit to play here for the year. I don't think that's a bad thing. And as we look at the surrounding study, we look at the decibel levels. There are some people in violation on this survey. I mean, there's just no denying it. There are people, but they should be punished appropriately. And the higher the decibel level, unfortunately, the stiffer the fine should be. I mean, if they're breaking the law and they're doing it grossly like that, they should be penalized that way. We look at the level of residential property line. We got 67, 59, 57, 61, 55, 55, 64. And when you look at it, the one is 101, 93 decibels at the property line of the bar. So that right there says that 55 at the property line, if they're doing 85, they should be within 55 or 65 at the residential line. You know, I'm not here to bash the complainants, but we do have to come to an understanding. We do need to come together and work it out. Like I said, standing operating procedure, enforcement that works, and that's understandable. When we say standing operating procedure, the restaurant owners need to be involved, the police department, the building department, whoever, code enforcement, whoever is involved in it has to be involved. And people out there that have complaints need to be involved and heard as well. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So with that, I would like to say that we are totally against this proposal. I think the volumes speak for themselves, but we need to fix the problem, but without enforcement and the right way to do it, we cannot get this done. So we've had trustees, and I've spoken to trustees in several different establishments on the Nautical Mile when bands and DJs were playing, and we've had normal conversations. It is attainable, it is doable. But it needs to be looked at, it needs to be addressed, and it needs to be done the proper way. There's a right way and a wrong way. Obviously, we're not doing it the right way. And you know what, like I said, not all the establishments are innocent. I'm not going to, sit here and tell you lies. There are some that violate it, but you know what, we need to get them in line as well. That's something that, all the restaurants need to help police each other as well. Otherwise, it's not going to work, so we need to all work together on this. Otherwise, we're not going to get anywhere with it. And we're going to be back here in a year, and we'll be talking about the same thing and wasting 3 hours of our lives that we'll never get back. Not that I don't enjoy seeing everyone here, but this is a great night. But with that, I'll stop speaking here and let someone else. I'm sorry it didn't last as long as you, Mr. Greco. God bless you. Next speaker.
James Gallagher.
Yes, sir.
My name is James Gallagher. Yes. James Gallagher. 251 North Long Beach Avenue, Freeport, New York. Lifetime member of Freeport Society. I'm a musician. I play at these places. I recognize a lot of people on this board. When I play my guitar, I have to yell into this, and I'm not going to. When I play my guitar, the amplifier is on the ground. The sound travels. The noise is louder here than it is by the side of the street. Of course, the wind carries it, But basically, I see the policemen walking around with the sound meters, and they're scratching their heads and they're saying, should we give them a ticket? Is it loud? What do we do? And it's, when it comes down to that, it's like, right, there's no policy as far as what the policemen are going to do with us. Music is our culture, it's our history, it's a part of our society, it's who we are. Everybody on this board knows what their favorite band is, and when you hear it, what do you want to do when you hear Teddy Pendergrass? You want to turn it up, right?
Come on, Mayor! Come on!
I love Teddy Pendergrass. I think he's a great artist. Basically, it's what you want to hear. It drives the people into the Nautical Mile, brings them in, brings them revenue.
Revenue.
We have businesses out there that drive on it and pay the taxes. They pay more taxes than anybody else a block away. Why is that? They have the same zip code. They're on the Nautical Mile, man. It's like, it's freedom of speech.